live on Facebook. Let's get live on every goddamn thing, man.
Send me something I can use, man.
God dang.
Send me something I can use.
You gonna use auxiliary record?
I want to hear it.
Man. Uh-oh. Bro, you ain't got the auxiliary cord? Why you got to play so close? You ain't got the auxiliary cord, bro?
You know what? Hold on.
Man, turn this off, man.
Hold on.
This, whatever this is. Yeah, let's ride, bro. That's the team, man. Sitting there. Man, see if I...
Yeah, do that. You hear it?
Come on, man. We about to play this, man. We ain't even gonna
Play it.
fool with you,
See,
man.
can you play it?
Oh! Hold on, man. What the Oz cord, bro? You got the microphone on? Turn the microphone on, bro. Test. Turn that mug up, bro.
That's it. That's it. That's all you got. That's all you got. That's all you got. Yeah, you just gonna fade it out.
I don't even hear the microphone, bro.
I ain't gonna work.
Oh, I can hear that, bro. Hear that, Big D? Ah, they like that. Man, what? Hey! But well, you got a hit there, boy. Come on, man. Come on, man. Hear that thing? That's a banger, man. We gotta play them again, bro. No, you did it, boy. You got a hit, boy. You got a hit. Happy Thursday, Sharon. Boy, you got a hit there, boy. You got, hey, man, where is it? Hey, man.
Go ahead. Handle your business.
Man, why don't you, man,
Handle
come
your
on,
business, man.
man.
Handle
Come
your
on.
business, man.
Good evening. Look, man, and the attachment is on there. What's the deal, bro?
No, I showed you what you sent me.
What's the deal, man? I just sent it again, bro. Man, check your email, bro. See if we can get this thing. We got to get that on the big one. But good evening. This is your host, Joaquin Thompson, coming to you live from Lilburn, Georgia.
Oh, Lord.
And we're on episode 101. So you got to buckle up. I'm gonna do some teaching tonight. It's time to take everybody back to school. We're gonna be talking about. I'm gonna give you all a debt elimination hack. We're trying to get this. You check the email, man?
I sure did.
I just sent it again, bro. I'm gonna send it again and
No.
again.
Do what you're doing.
Hey, man. So what we're doing? Oh, wait a minute. Hey!
I told you do what you're doing. I got this side. I got
Hey! Turn that thing up, man. Hey! Hey! Woo! Hey! Damn, that's hard. There you go. Woo, woo. Oh, that thing is banging. Ooh. Ah! Come on, man. So, I got all this reverb and stuff in here, man. What y'all be in here doing, bro? But for those of you that are joining for the first time, I'm the host, your host, Joaquin Thompson Sr., coming to you live from Lilburn, Georgia. This is the Daily Bread Radio Show.
And don't touch that now.
Hey, man, come on, put the microphone on. I don't hear nothing.
You hear
I don't hear nothing, bro.
Now you hear plenty.
Dang.
Now you hear plenty.
Now I hear, yeah. But why you got all the reverb and all that,
Yeah,
man?
we put in that. That's your head
Oh,
crooked.
man. You know what, man?
Your head crooked.
Man,
Your head
101. 101. But, yeah, for those of you those of you all that joined for the first time. What we do here on the Daily Bread Radio Show is we talk about personal finance, and we talk about it from a spiritual perspective. We don't do religion on the Daily Bread Radio Show, so if you're hearing the broadcast live for the first time, or if you're hearing a replay, we don't do religion here. We only believe in one thing, and that's God. So with that being said, we just celebrated our 100th episode last week. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. With an A. Phenomenal. With an F. Phenomenal. Look, I wanted to break that out last week, man. But the thing about it is God always has a plan, and everything is always, what? On time.
Come on.
So it was on time for this. It wasn't supposed to be for the 100, because the 100 was like, that was the end of an era for that era. 1 to 100. Now we into 101. So the thing about when you go to another level, and that was one of the things I was going to talk about tonight too, you got to think about it this way. You be grinding, trying to get things done, but once you get to another level, even though you're doing good at a certain level, but once you go to the next level, guess what? You go back down, and then you have to start over again. So even though you was 98, 99, 100, and then what you go back to? 1, 2. Because what that does is that's just trying to see if you really committed to what you say you are. If you really committed to what you're doing. So you got to go all the way back down. You go to another level, but guess what? Now you back to 1. So now we got to go back to 1, 2, before we even get back up to 120, 130, 140, 150, 160. We got to do that all over again. Hey, man, play that song again, man.
You want to hear it again?
I got to hear it again, man.
Let me see, can I find it?
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on,
Is it in here
man.
somewhere?
Man.
Is it in here?
Bro, I'm sending that to iTunes ASAP. 99 cents, bro. You can download the Daily Bread Radio Show, the theme show, the theme song, man. Man, what's that?
So you say you want to hear it again?
Man, let me hear it again, bro.
One more, go again.
One more, man. One more. Hit it again. Turn that thing up, man. Let it ride. This is our show. Ooh. Oh, that just sounds so funky. You just like, ooh. He said you financially cool. I'll say, if not, here's what to do. That thing is so funky. Oh, man. Bro, we oh my gosh, bro. Is that crazy? Man. Man, why you trying to? Man, that was the.
That's where it stopped at.
That ain't where it stopped at.
That's
Oh man, play it again, man.
Man, you gonna educate
Man.
you wanna play the song?
Man, we
What you wanna do?
Man, I want to play that song, man. I want to hear that end. Oh, that thing funky, man. You don't understand, man. I listened to it day before yesterday, I think I listened to it 30 times in a row. I just kept playing it over and over. Bro, you ain't even know, but you ain't getting it. We got the instrumental too. So when we want to break in and, you know, use it for different things, now we got the instrumental, so we can just let that mug just ride. Educate, motivate, elevate. Oh. So man, it's just but I'm serious, man. I'm gonna put that out on iTunes, bro. And put the 99 cent on it. And we're going to let it ride out. Let iTunes get their 9 cents, because I know they probably charging like 10% of whatever you sell, but it's all good. I'll take 90 cents. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can sell 100 of them a day, or 200 a day. And we support the cause, man. But that right there, man, y'all just don't know, man. And that's I know I talk about that a lot on this show, man. It's a financial literacy show, but every week that I come on here, man, I get so... man, just so encouraged, bro, because stuff like that, like, where did that come from? Like, where was that? I mean, just, like, you know, like they say in the ethers, that was just out. That was already done, man, before we, so that's why I know, you know, when we say we're going to Madison Square Garden, bro, we going to Madison, and we're gonna do the first one. We're gonna do the first one. Dun, dun, dun. This is the Daily Bread. Gonna do that one first, and then we're gonna come back and do the new one, man. So just super hyped about that, man, and super hyped about, you know, starting, you know, doing the 101. So got a lot of stuff going on, and got a lot of stuff going on. So just, you know, happy to see, you know, everybody still joining the show. I got some stuff tonight I've been thinking about, because one of the things I've been thinking about is from a financial standpoint, and I'm gonna go to the board in a little while, and I gotta calm down before I jump up over there. But one of the things I was thinking about is this whole financial literacy game is it's like a matrix. It's literally like a matrix. You know, people don't have money, and then people who have money. I've been talking to some people who, like I was talking to this gentleman earlier this week. He was so hyped. He was like, man, I'm making all this money. He said, man, I have no idea what I'm doing. He said, I'm making money hand over fist, man. He said, man, I ain't paying no taxes. Man, I don't know where the money going. And I'm like, bruh. He's like, man, bro, I need some help, man. You're gonna have to help me. And then we got people at the other end of the spectrum just like, man, I don't have no money. I can't figure, you saying save, and I can't figure that out. I'm like, whoa. And then you got everything in between. So I know what I'm doing is on purpose. Last weekend, got to go teach some young men, 10-year-olds to 17. 10 years old to 17. And their parents, one of the parents was, you know, parents, whenever you start to come in, you say, hey, we're going to talk about financial literacy or money matters. You know, with young people, when you first go in there, they kind of like this. They just looking at, like, what is this? What you going to talk about? But when you start dropping that knowledge on them, man, them kids was like soaking it up. Because I was breaking it down to them, and they were like, so afterwards, the parents were so hyped. They was like, man, they need to be teaching more of this. We need to be teaching them. I'm like, I'm trying to tell you. Because that's the only way things going to change is you got to practice. You got to learn. It's like any other thing that you do. You know, in order for you to get good at this, you got to play this game, play to win. Don't play scared. Take your shot. If you make it, keep going. If you don't make it, suck it up. Keep it moving. But you got to be willing. That's one of the things I want to talk about tonight, man. You can't play this game scared, right? You can't play scared, because people who play high-risk games, you know, like high-risk poker, or you go to different casinos, they have the regular casino. For those of you all that have been to a casino before, you got the regular casino. That's where everybody just, you know, doing their thing, but then they got one little small section, right? Every casino I've ever been in, Atlantic City, Vegas, all of them, any casino I've ever been in, right? New Orleans, they always they have the big casino, but then they got one little small section for the high rollers. They call it the high roller room. So you go in there, people outside the high roller, you could bet a penny, you could bet $5, You go in the high roller room, it's like $1,000 a hand, $10,000 a hand, $50,000 a hand, $100,000 a hand.
So they win the big.
A hand, $100,000 a hand.
So when they win it big.
When they win in big, right? Because if you playing $100,000 a hand, right? You ain't playing just one hand,
Yeah.
right? Because it's all about odds. You have to know your odds. Now I have a cousin he won't say it, but I'm say it for him. He's a professional gambler. Because the way I look at it is, if you gamble every day, you're a professional gambler, right? Or you might have a gambling addiction. Either or, you play every day.
I know people that scratch off the
Right.
every day.
Hey, they got a gambling addiction. You know, they're getting scratched off every day. But I got a cousin, he plays every day. But one of the things that me and him was talking about is this. It's some people who gamble and some people who know how to play these different games. And they know what the odds are. So if you know the odds, see, that's one of the things that most people, when they start playing games, they don't understand the odds. They don't understand the odds. People who know how to play these games, I got another, my LB, I got a frat brother. He a professional poker player. He go all over the country. He's been in the World Series of Poker. He's been on ESPN. He go to all these different, this brother plays poker. That's his second career. He has a full-time job, and then his second full-time job is traveling to play poker. But he knows the odds. So is he going to win every hand? No. There's no way you can win every hand, right? But you have to know the odds, and you have to get skilled at knowing how to play the game. So it's the same thing. I always use that as a metaphor from personal finance standpoint. You got to learn the odds, and you have to practice the skill of playing the game and learn how to play it well. Wealthy people have learned how to play it well. But you're going to lose. And that's the part that people don't like. That's the part of the game that people really don't like to talk about. You never hear people talking about losses. So if you're around somebody and they telling you about how they built this empire and how they got all these different things, it's like, you telling me all the good stuff, but you ain't told me none of the bad. But trust me, anybody that you see that come up from a financial standpoint, they done had some bad too. So the thing that we have to learn how to do is we got to learn the odds and learn how to play the game. That's why I do the Daily Bread radio show. The only thing I want to do is, just like the words say, I want to educate you about different things that you can do and you can put into play. And my goal is, and my hope is that you would get motivated. Because if you get excited about something, somebody's like, man, you can do it, you do this. You be like, oh, that's all you need is a little juice. And then after that, you're going to elevate. The stuff that I've been sharing at over 100 shows, if you go back and listen to them 100 shows, I promise you, if you just put 10% of that stuff into play, just 10% into play, it'll change your whole it'll change everything for you. So when people are saying, hey, they minimize, oh man, it's just, he on there, he's laughing jokes, but I'm like, nah, bro. If you go back and listen to what I'm saying to you and take that information and put it in play, you take it, put it in play, it's like somebody calling a play. It's one thing to call a play, you trying to get a yard, it's 31, that's one play. But then we got to play like, brother, I got some plays that I know that work because they work for me, they work for other people, but you got to put them in play. You have to put them in play. They're not going to work when you just listen to the show, oh, that was good, I heard that, and then you don't put it in play. Then that's on you. But we're not going to worry about that because on the Daily Bread radio show, my goal is educate, motivate, elevate, regardless. I'm going back to the little people. I'm starting a whole nother program for the little people, 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, 13. Start getting them while they're young, teaching them these habits, right? While they're young. Then that way they can see the world different. Because like when I was talking to these young cats this weekend, it's all right, here, you got $1,000, what you gonna do? I had over 7, it went with like 10 kids in the group. I had over 6, it was like 6 or 7 kids. And I didn't say nothing. This is before I even started speaking to them. I just handed them a business card. I said, okay, act like this is $1,000. What are you gonna do with it? Man, them young cats was like, put it in the bank. One dude was like, I'm gonna spend 20. Listen what this kid said. He 10, 11 years old. This is what 11-year-old said to me. I'm gonna spend 20%, and then I'm gonna put the rest in the bank. I was like, whoa. He didn't know how much 20% of 1,000 was, but he knew he was gonna put 20% in the bank. I was like, whoa. So just think about that. Think about all the money you've made over the last 10 years. Just, it don't matter how much, right? Could have been 10,000 a year, could have been $1 million a year, right? Think about if you had 20% of all of the money that you made over the last 10 years. How much money would you have? Just 20%. I don't even know what happened to the other 80. Just 20%. That's how you change things. So it's not about how much you make. And all wealthy people will tell you that. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. How much can you put in play? How much can you keep in your hands? How much can you put to work? So that's really the simplest rule to this whole game. And are you gonna have some losses? Of course. So there ain't nothing wrong with having losses. But in order for you to have wins, you gotta be playing the game. So that's what we're doing here. And today, that's one of the topics I want to talk about, which was, being committed. Being committed. And the thing about being committed to something, it's one thing to say this is what you want, like you have a dream, but in order for you to have a dream or to make a dream come true, you got to have a goal. In order for you to have a goal, between a goal and a dream, you got to have a plan. Plans make dreams come true. Because if you just dream, oh man, I want a Bentley, it ain't gonna happen. Not unless you go a step further and say, my goal is to have X number of dollars saved over the next year, over the next 2 years, and this is how much it's gonna cost. You already did your research on the car or the house or the investment or what have you, and then you play the long game. Don't play the short game, play the long game. That's what, that's really, if you go back and listen to all these different songs by Nipsey Hussle, right? That's the thing that's really resonating with people right now is he keeps talking about the marathon continues, and what that really means is you got to be thinking about the long game. He's telling you, don't worry about no sprint. He said that ain't gonna win. You got to be thinking about your long game. So I would say you got to be committed, because as you taking them losses, and as people are doubting you, and as you doubting yourself, and as money get tight, and as you don't feel like doing it today, that's the part that's gonna make you different than everybody else. Because as long as you're doing everything that everybody else is doing, you're not gonna be able to separate yourself. Mm-hmm. You won't be able to separate from the pack. So if everybody normally get up around 9 or 10, get up like 4 o'clock in the morning. Just wake up at 4 o'clock and get up
and miss my sleep
and just get up and do something. Read your Bible, meditate, do something, but at least be up. The fact that you up at 4 o'clock in the morning and a large majority of people are still asleep, you already got an advantage of it. And if you do that consistently, think of how much you can get done between 4, just say 4 and 8, right? A lot of people still got to go to work, this, that, and the other, or I got to go start the business for the day. But just say 4 to 8. That's 4 hours. You could be practicing your craft. You could be doing a lot of different things. So, but you got to stay committed. And that's what we find. That's what the 101 says to me. Like, I was in the grocery store the other day, and a friend of mine ran into her. Our kids grew up together, and I hadn't seen her in a while. And the first thing she said to me, I said, hey, how you doing? You know what the first thing she said to me? First thing came out of her mouth before she said, hey, Joaquin, what's going on? First thing came, congratulations on 100 shows. Congratulations on 100 shows. And I was like, dang, I ain't even know you like watch on Facebook, on social media, whatever. But that stuff is going places that you can't, and that's what messes us up from a commitment standpoint. A lot of times we trying to figure it out before it even happened, because we don't believe it's gonna happen. Or we don't want to try hard enough or put the energy or the time into it, because it's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. It's gonna happen. If you keep doing it just repeatedly, it's gonna happen. It's like a leaky faucet. It's gonna happen. It's inevitable. But if you get to a point where you like, nah, I'm not doing that no more, it's gonna happen. And I got some business cards in here. That's something else I want to, put out to everybody. Look at, man, get my card, man. Look at this. This was a year. This is May. This was a year in the making. And I'm not gonna tell you the full story on this, but we'll talk about commitment. This is a business card, and this business card is for a mortgage company that I initially planned to start it a year ago. Did all of the paperwork, got the business set up the LLC, did my initial investment, but it just didn't go the way that I anticipated for it to go. Ran into some challenges with the company that I was working with, and just say, okay, we need to pull a plug on it. We need to revamp. And here we come back a year later. This is 1 year later, because it was last May this time. So now we back into May. Now guess what? Now they come back and say, hey, and it was a better deal. That's something that we ain't even talk about that part. Because a lot of times when you stay committed, you may try to do something the first time it don't work. And then when you come back, guess what? You could come back and get a better deal. Sometimes you get a worse deal, right? If somebody offering something, and that's a sidebar. So if you ever selling something to somebody and they decline your offer the first time, if they refuse your offer the first time, if that same person comes back to you, guess what? It's more. It's more. But that's another story for another day. But this card represents this commitment. So fast forward a year, now I have the ability to do mortgages. So if you know somebody that is in the market for a mortgage, or refinance, residential or commercial, tell them to reach out to me. The number to the office is 470-322-5122. So you can give me a call and say, hey, my friend is in the market for a mortgage. And why is that important? Because it's vertical. It goes right in line with the Daily Bread radio show. So if your credit not strong enough, or if you don't understand the 5 components of a credit score, or if you don't understand savings or budgeting, all of this goes right in line. This is something that I learned this week. Calling you on the air. This is why I came with the Daily Bread radio show. What's your name and where you calling from?
This is Brian Cooley tuning in from
Man, you a celebrity, bro. Boy, you a goddamn celebrity, man. Man, I was gonna keep playing it over and over and over, but I still had to do the show, man. So it's like, bro, I'm like, man, that little tweak we did to it came out perfect. That one little tweak we did, man, it came out perfect, bro. That is perfect.
Trying to get it like right at a minute, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it came out, man. Look, Raheem over there like this. I said, man, play this song, man. He like this. It's all right. I'm like, yeah, it's more. That ain't what your body's saying. Your body's saying it's on point. But no, I appreciate that, man. I definitely appreciate that, Big D.
For sure, it's all love, man. You know, that's why you know you're my main man.
That's what's up. Come on, man. We ain't even gonna talk about that, man. We ain't even gonna talk about that, man. But I definitely appreciate that, because the other thing that I'm gonna do with that, like I was saying, that's why I wanted that instrumental, because I'm gonna take that. I know we jumping ahead, but might as well talk about it now, because we talked about commitment, and since we talking about commitment, the other thing I'm doing this weekend is I'm shooting 3 more pilot TV show episodes this weekend. So I have the young lady that was on the show here, Maya Dukes. She's going to be on. She's going to be one of my guests. Another brother that I had on the show, he was back on episode 10. A real good friend of mine that's a minister, Antonio Eubanks. He's going to be on. We're going to be talking about the church and money. So that's going to get... that's going to be... I got to wear my my bulletproof vest for that one, boy, because that one is going to get real heated up. And then we got a young brother. He's one of the top motivational speakers in the world. I just talked to him the other day, man. He's like number 3 right now in the world as far as content This brother under 30 years old, and I'm talking about he's getting calls from Les Brown, he's getting calls from Anthony Robbins, he's getting calls from Grant Cardone, and he's a monster, man. This brother, if you all on Instagram or Facebook, definitely check him out. William King Hollis, great story, brother, out of Michigan, man, and he's helping a lot of people, man, bringing a lot of attention to things like suicide and mental health and mental health well-being, but awesome motivational speaker, man. So we're gonna have him, and then when we start doing the editing for the shows, I'm gonna use that instrumental for our intro and for our outro. That's what we're gonna be using for the intro and the outro, right? So that way, yeah. So once we do that, and then we just dreaming. Then we gonna just take it from there and see if we can get it on, Amazon Prime or HBO or Showtime, something where somebody can, ink a deal for us, and then we take the Daily Bread on, on Showtime or HBO or whatever. But that's where we going. We going there. That's our dream, So go on, man. Go and warm up the vocal cords, like, cause you'll be doing a lot of singing, bro. We got to bring you on live so you can do it live.
That's what's up, my man. I'm gonna go ahead and let you have a few minutes, boy. You got to get to that board for us now.
Hey, bro, get your pencil and paper, man. We about to go to the board, bro. We about to put. Hey, school is in session, bro. School is in session. Hey, man, I appreciate you. Hey, love you too, baby. All right. Hey, man, I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it. That mean the world to me, man. Mean the world to me. All right, baby. Later. But I mean, and that's the whole thing. So, if you know somebody, look at this, man. I see my god sister on Elaine down in Amelia Island. I see my other sister on Loretta. I see my beautiful wife on Tanya. I see my beautiful daughter on Ashley. Got Big D on, and anybody else if I missed you, hey, I'm just trying to look, cause I ain't had that 20. I'm like this, like I don't have that 2020 no more. That's why I got these on, but I see y'all out there. But the thing about this commitment is this. Listen to this. 50 states. I could do a mortgage in 50 states. And you may be asking yourself, well, how can you do a mortgage in 50 states? Because it's like Rocket Mortgage. I was looking at the Rocket Mortgage commercial the other day. I was watching the game, and you see Rocket Mortgage. But what happens is Rocket Mortgage, the mortgage company, they have licenses in all the states, but the people that work under Rocket Mortgage, they're like me. They may be licensed in 2 states. So I'm licensed in Georgia. I have my license in Georgia, and I have my license in New Jersey, because that's the parent company that I work up under. That's where their original license works. So wherever you reside, and then they give you another state where your sponsor is, but that's some behind the scenes. But either way, long story short, if you're in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, South Carolina, North Carolina, California, Idaho, South Dakota, North Dakota, New York, New Jersey, tri-state area, DMV, up, down, sideways, give me a call. Reach out to me, man, and show me some love, and I'm gonna make sure they take care of you. If your credit not where it needs to be, we're gonna work on that. If your savings, listen to this. If you save $20 a day for a year, and I'm stealing this from my man Jay Morrison, because if you all not following him, follow that brother too, because that's what we talked about last week. It's not enough of us out here talking about this brother talking some good, giving out some information, just jewels, just here, take it. But again, you got to take the information and put it in play. But anyway, he broke this down, and I was like, damn, that's deep. He said, you save $20 a day for a year, 1 year, $20 a day for 1 year. You know how much you have? My producer, he typing, man. He always playing on the computer, man, when I'm on. But if you did $20 a day for a year, you have $6,000.
$6,000 for a year.
Listen to this, though. Here's the powerful part. Not only will you have $6,000, but what is $6,000? $6,000 is a 3% down payment on a $200,000 property. Now notice I didn't say a $200,000 house, because it's more than just a house, but now you're looking at property, right? So it took you a year. You saved up $20 a day on average for a year. Now you got $6,000. Now you go down and plunk down your $6,000, and guess what? You could pay $6,000 and control a $200,000 asset. That's crazy. That's ludicrous. That's crazy. You only put up 3% and you controlling an asset that's $200,000, right? That's powerful. So mortgage company, we got that in the game, and like I said, that's vertical. But we got about 15 minutes left in the show. We're gonna get over to the board, man, and see if we can make some magic happen. I'm gonna give y'all. Well, before I go to the board, I might as well do this too. Book of the week. This is a powerful book. This is a powerful book, and I just picked it up. So normally, I usually bring on books after I've read them. This book is so powerful. I had to bring this one on. I had to bring this one on before I finished reading it. But I'm gonna share something with you all real quick. I'm gonna just read a quick little excerpt. It's gonna take me like a minute, but just let this marinate and just let it resonate right in here. And listen to Marcus Garvey was a black nationalist. For those of you all that need to brush up on your black history, Marcus Garvey was a black nationalist back in the early 1900s. And what he was trying to do, he started an organization that was called the Universal Negro Improvement Association, UNIA, right? So what his goal was to help blacks that wanted to go back to Africa to go back to Africa. He literally was putting this plan in place like, if you want to go back to Africa, we're going to raise some money, we're going to buy a ship, and you can get on this ship, and we're going to go back to Africa, right? This is how he was thinking, and he wasn't just thinking about it. He was working towards that. That's what he was working towards, right? So all the people who were saying they want to go, he's like, here, I'm about to buy this ship. And just think about how much thinking and foresight you got to have to do something like that. But check out what he says. This is lesson 10. Because the title of the book is Message to the People, The Course of African Philosophy by Marcus Garvey. So just think about that just let that resonate with you, right? The Message to the People, The Course of African Philosophy. Now listen to what he says in lesson 10. He said there are several kinds of economy, but this subject deals specifically with the financial economy. Economy is based upon good and sane judgment. The practice of it is that you must always, listen to this, the practice of it is that you must always be on the safe side of your bargains and dealings. Never exhaust yourself, always have a reserve. Listen to this now. This is 1900 that he's saying this. Never exhaust yourself, always have a reserve. There should always be something left over that you may fall back on in the time of need. Money is the prop of life, in that it pays for all necessities and offers security for all opportunities. In earning money, one should never spend as much money as he earns. He should always be thrifty enough to save at least 15 to 20% of his income, storing it up for making better opportunities when they come and providing for a rainy day. If you spend all you earn, you are on the edge of bankruptcy all the time. If you spend more than you earn, you are not only a fool, but you are a very dishonest person. And you are bound to suffer without any other chance. Therefore, always make it a policy to save money out of your earnings, never mind how small it is. If you have better commercial ideas than your present job calls for, and your present remuneration, I'm about to work on that one. Remuneration. I'm like, what? You threw me off with that. I'm like, what? Remuneration. Warrants, then save out of your present earnings to take advantage of the opportunity to improve yourself when a reasonable time in achieving these ideas. That's deep. So, you got to think about this. This is 1900, and I work on that remuneration. So just learn a new word. So I'll pop that in the dictionary when we get home. Never engage yourself in living luxuriously when you can only live ordinarily. Ultimately, you are bound to fail and be the laughingstock of your friends in the community by not being able to keep up your luxurious standard of living on a limited purse. All right, so we're going to take it. Hey, we're about to take it to the board. Let me share something with you all. And you want to get your phones out too, so that way we can always, I always like to go in and check the math. So I always use a phone just as a way to calculate things real quick. But I'm gonna write it out on the board, and you all can check it out. And this is, look, this is a tip, and I call it a credit tip and a savings tip and a debt tip all wrapped in one. So let's go to the board. All right, we're going to the board, y'all. Going to the board. Let's see. Let me give y'all the numbers. Here we go. All right, here we go. So you got $1,000, right? So we're gonna say this is debt. You got $1,000 debt at 24% interest. Right? $1,000 debt at 24% interest. Man, can y'all see that? I don't know, can y'all see that? Okay. Look a little bright to me, man. Is that them lights glaring on that?
Mm-hmm.
Can y'all see that? You might have to turn that off a little bit, bro. I'll turn it. Nah, I don't know if they can see that, bro.
I got you. Keep going. I got you.
All right, so this is how this works. So what you want to do, if you want to find out how you can eliminate this $1,000 debt, the quickest way you can eliminate this $1,000 debt, the first thing that you got to do is figure out the interest, right? Because the way the credit card, not just credit card companies, mortgage company, right? Student loans, everybody try to figure out how they can keep you in debt, right? That's what they're really looking for. Bro, I can't even see that. But so on the interest, this is how this works. So what you want to do is this. Now we're gonna get you, we're gonna fire you, man. Get another person, bro. They know how to work the iPad. So this is what you want to do. You about to get fired, man. You about to get fired. So what you want to do is this. You want to take the 1,000, right? I'm gonna give y'all a little tip. You want to take the 1,000. That's your principal. That's the principal debt. Here's the easy way to do it. You want to take 24% and convert it into a decimal. That's 0.24, right? So if you take 0.24 and you divide it by 365, right? So let me put that, I'm gonna put that in my calculator too. So 0.24 divided by 365 is gonna give you this number. Here's the number right here. 0.00065. Let me make sure I put enough zeros in there. That's it. Okay?
Bingo. Bingo.
Oh man. Oh, thank you. God darn. The show almost over now. Okay. So, but you all can see that, right? 0.24. This is your interest, right? Can take your 24% and convert it into a decimal. I know a lot of y'all haven't been on a decimal since middle school. 0.24, right? So if you do the 0.24 and you divide it by 365, that's the days in a year, right? Multiply that or divide it by 365, you're gonna get 0.00065. So now you're like, okay, now this number represents, this is how much interest you're paying every day. Now the thing you need to understand about interest every day is just that, every day. Every night that you go to sleep and you wake up the next morning, you got some more interest. Might be a credit card, might be a house note, might be a student loan. Every day that you wake up and take a deep breath, you got some more interest that's accruing. So if you're not paying, then this is how this works. So then you take this number, right, and you multiply it by your principal, which is 1,000, right? So when you multiply that by 1,000, you take this number, you multiply it by 1,000. Because that was your original debt, right? And that's going to give you 0.65, right? So let's give you that number, 0.65. So So that's going to tell you exactly how much interest 1,000 at 24% over a year, you paying 65 cents in interest on this debt every day. 65 cents. Don't sound like a lot, but let me show you how the game goes. This is when you need to take out your paper and your pencil and write this down, because this is how this works. So now you take the 0.65, which is 65 cents, and then you multiply that by 30, right? You multiply that by 30, that's $19.72. $19.72. So let me write it this way so that way you all can see that. Because this is going to be the end of the story. $19.72. Why is that important? This tells you in a month is $19.72, right? That's how much the interest on this $1,000 at 24% every month. But here's the trick. Let me show you the trick to keep you in debt. Even though you have $19.72 accruing on this $1,000 every month, how much is your bill gonna be? When the credit card company sends you a bill, how much is your bill gonna be? How much you think your bill gonna be? Gonna be $20, $30, $40? No. This is the game. Your bill on that be something like this. Be like $10. Could be $15, right? But here's the game. It's always going to be less than $19.72. And why is that? The reason is this. They want to make sure that you never exceed the amount of interest that you're paying every month. And then what happens is the amount of your bill, instead of your bill going down, your bill is going to keep going up. This is called a minimum payment. So you see that, and that's why if you look on your credit card statement, if you flip your credit card statement over, it'll tell you if you pay the minimum to pay off $1,000 at 24%, it will take you 8 years. And you might say, why would it take me 8 years to pay $1,000? Here's the trick. I just gave you the trick. Now, I just did this on a small number, right? That's $1,000. But the same thing happens on your house. Your house is $100,000, right? So instead of this being, if you take this number, right, and you make it 100,000, you just multiply it by 100, right? Boom, it's 100. Then this number goes up. So instead of it being 19, you do that times 100 for the year. Now it's 1,900 in interest a year, right? And then what they're going to end up doing is they're going to charge you less, and then it's going to go up. It's going to keep going up. That's why when you buy a house at $100,000 and you pay it off, they're going to give you 30 years to pay it off. But guess what? The interest alone is always going to be double the principal. So if you buy a house at $100,000, they're going to get $200,000 worth of interest, and you're going to pay the $100,000 in principal. You're going to end up paying $300,000. So if you don't believe me, go do your research. Go check it out. That's how you keep people in debt. So the way that you break the curse, what I call a curse, is this. You do these calculations, and then you come back and you say, hey, I know I owe $19. We're going to keep it simple. If I know I owe on this $1,000 debt, I know I owe $19.72. What do you need to do? This is what you need to do. Every payment needs to be what? Higher. It needs to be higher than $19.72. Why is that? Because everything that you pay above $19.72, guess what it does? Goes towards your principal. So it could be $20. It could be $30. So instead of you paying $19.72, say if you was paying $30. Now this is going to go down about $10. Now the sweet part about that is this, and I'm going to leave y'all with this. Interest is always calculated on what? Your outstanding balance. So as your principal goes down, The interest is calculated on the outstanding balance. So if, instead of this being 1,000, if it was 990, now you're gonna have a lower interest amount every month. So I just gave you 2 tricks. So the trick is this: don't wait till it accumulates. It's only 65 cents a day. Guess what you could be doing? If you started sending your credit card company, you have a $1,000 bill. I'm giving y'all, you might have to go back and look at this again just to soak this in. I just gave you 3 what we call credit hacks or debt elimination hacks in one. Look, this is just one scenario. At 65 cents a day, do you realize you can start sending your credit card company $1 a day, right? You send them $1 a day. Everybody got $1. That's a cup of coffee, right? You sending them $1 a day. Boo, 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 boo. Guess what? In a month, you done sent them $30. The interest was $19.72. You sent them $30. Guess what? Instead of this being 1,000, now you at $9.90. That's at $1 a day. So Mike, what if you got real committed to it? I'm gonna do $2 a day. $2, $5, okay? If you did $5 a day in 30 days, how much is that? That's $150. The interest is still the same though. It's $19.72 a month. But you just sent them $150. What does this do? Now this goes down to $850 in 1 month. What if you got real nasty with it? I'm gonna do $10 a day. I'm a baller. I'm doing $10 a day. A lot of people spending $10 a day on lunch. What if you start carrying your lunch and putting $10 a day towards your debt? $10 a day in a month, that's $300. That's $300. The interest is the same. But when you put 300 on 1,000, now this is going down to 700 the next month. And what's the interest calculated on the next month? 24% on 700. No, it's a lot. That's why I said you need to go back, get your pen and paper, and sit back and look at that. Short version. $1,000 at 24%. Take the 24%, convert it into a decimal, 0.24. Divided by 365 days. Gives you 0.0065, right? That tells you your interest for every day of the year. Multiply that by your principal, $1,000. That gives you $19.72, right? That $19.72, that's telling you what it is for over a 30-day period. Because that's what we did here. 1,000 times the 0.0065 is 65 cents. Take the 65 cents, multiply it by 30. 30 days in a month, right? 30 days in a billing cycle, right? $19.72. You can do this with credit card. You can do it with your mortgage. You can do it with your car. So, and that's why they want, and I'm going to leave you with this. This is the last tip from the Daily Bread Radio Show this week. Why do you think all of your bills come monthly? Is that to help you out, or is that to help the bank out? Think about it. If I'm telling you to send money every day, we got electronic means now, right? You can go electronically. You can just set it up in your bank account, automatically draft $1 out of my account every day to go to whoever, Capital One, Visa, American Express, whoever you want to send it to, Sears, JCPenney, whoever, right? The Gap, whoever you owe. You can put that dollar in there tonight. You can go in there tonight and put that in $2 out of my account every day. Now, you've been listening to the Daily Bread Radio Show for 100 episodes. I hope you got $2 in your account every day, right? $2, you knocking this out. Now you got more capital. And you may say, well, that ain't a lot. But what did we just learn from Marcus Garvey? It matters not how small it is. It matters not how small. The fact is that you're doing it. You building muscle, right? Like when you go to the gym. When you first go to the gym, you don't just grab 500 pounds. You got to lift some lightweight, get a little stronger, get a little stronger. That's what this is. And you got to learn and practice this. You got to practice. Because once you start practicing, you put these kind of things in play, guess what? You can get bigger things eliminated. Instead of it taking you 6 years to pay your car off, you can use this strategy and pay the car off in 3 and save yourself 3 years of interest. That's the game. That's the game. So that right there, that's $1,000. That was a 10-minute session. I just saved you $1,000. Any way you cut it, slice it, dice it, this works everywhere. And that's why they bill you every 30 days, because they want that interest to accrue. So that's love from the Daily Bread Radio Show. We got the new theme song. Go and practice this. Go do it in your time. $1,000, 24%. 24% converted to a decimal, 0.24. Divide by 365 days. And use your phone, right? Use your phone for more than just texting. Get your calculator out. That's going to give you 0.0065. Multiply that by your principal, $1,000. That's going to give you 65 cents a day. And just know this. When you wake up in the morning, your car note, your house note, your credit card, your student loan, that stuff you charge at Macy's and the Gap and all these other Victoria's Secrets, all them credit cards you got in your wallet. When you wake up in the morning, you go to sleep tonight, you wake up in the morning, guess what? 65 more cents for that credit card, right? When you do this for your mortgage, $13 a day for your mortgage. When you do it for your car, $7 a day for your car. And then when you add all of that up, right, it might cost you $100 a day in just interest. I ain't say principal, in just interest. I'm saying when you wake up, boom, $100 more. Every day, every single day that you live in. That's why it's a cost for you to even live. It's a cost to that. It ain't nothing free. So when they say, hey, ain't nothing free, that's what they meant. It's nothing free. So every time you go to sleep and you wake up, this is what's happening. And the reason it's happening that way is because we sleep. We sleep. So when they say wake up, that's what this means. Wake up. Figure this out. Take all your bills and do the same process. This is real simple, right? Do this for all your bills, and every single day. Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, New Year's, birthday, anniversary. Every day they slapping that interest on you. So that's what keeps people from being able to accumulate wealth, because all your money is going to interest. 40% on average, 40% of every dollar that you make is going to interest. That's 40%. So that leaves you 60%, right? Every dollar. Now you add in 30% for taxes. So 30 cents of every dollar goes to taxes. 40% of every dollar goes to interest. What does that leave you with? 30%. And that's what most people have to live off of. 30% of whatever they make. Unless you learn this, then if you learn this, you can eliminate interest. And we ain't gonna talk about tax tonight, but this will eliminate debt. And when you eliminate debt, you can take this money, instead of you having a $1,000 credit card, you do this 6 times. Now you got $6,000 you put down on a piece of property. You put a little paint on it, you rake the yard, you throw a tenant in there, boom. Now you're making money. That's the Daily Bread Radio Show. So hopefully y'all got something out of that. I'll see you all next week. Thank you all for joining. Class is in session. Hey! Class is in session. Ain't nobody doing it like this, baby. Nobody. Class is in session. Class is in session. Hey! The Daily Bread. Hey! Class is in session. Hey, y'all have a good one.